Hi guys, so we're going to talk about stress, and I am super excited for this, which is probably an ironic statement because talking about stress isn't usually really exciting. Okay, so to get started, I want you guys to understand that two different types of stress. We have acute stress, which is momentary and it's a short-term type of stress. An example can be like getting hit on the freeway or running late to a meeting or something like that. So you're only feeling it for a short amount of time. And then we have chronic stress, which can last up to months or years. And an example of that can be losing a loved one or going through a divorce or some type of abuse as a child. So to understand how stress affects your body, we're going to be talking about two major ways that it affects you. And one of the main ways is that it affects your nervous system. So I want you guys to imagine a light switch, okay? So when you are relaxed, imagine that light switch is off. And when that light switch is off, it's actually called the parasympathetic. Your nervous system is in that function where it's relaxed, it's digesting food properly, all your organs are working properly, okay? But when you're stressed out, imagine that light switch turning on. Things get fired up and you are now switching over to the sympathetic nervous system. And a lot of things happen when your body's under this stress. Your nervous system begins to send signals all throughout your body, and some like natural things that you may see is like your pupils get dilated, your tear glands begin to produce tears. A way you could feel it is your body releases adrenaline all of a sudden, your heart is racing, your blood pressure goes up. Something you may not feel is that it inhibits digestion, so you're not able to digest your food properly, and then on top of that, you're not able to absorb the nutrients of the things that you're eating. So you can be eating the best healthful meal and you're not receiving all that nutrients because your body's in that stress state, which is called the sympathetic nervous system. It decreases movement of your stomach and your intestines, so it's not able to contract and move things along the way it's supposed to move things along. So that was one of the first ways your health is affected by stress. And the second way is the release of hormones. So to keep it short and simple, in your brain, there's a part that's called the hypothalamus, and that sends a signal to your pituitary gland that you're stressed out, and then your pituitary gland sends a signal to your adrenal gland to start sending out these hormones. A few of them are adrenaline and cortisol. So why does this matter? Okay, so imagine somebody that has chronic fatigue that is constantly releasing these stress hormones every day. Your body wasn't made to release those types of hormones every day. The way our body was created, these hormones are created so that you can either flee from a dangerous situation or, feel like strong in the moment to fight if you have to. But your body doesn't know the difference when you're stressed out from trying to run from somebody trying to take away your life versus stressed out because you're hurting or because you're having these negative emotions of anxiety and depression. So imagine someone with chronic fatigue that is experiencing these negative emotions on a daily is releasing these hormones constantly. And what happens with that is that after months and years, your adrenal gland gets so exhausted because it was not meant to release those types of hormones on the daily. And it gets exhausted. And then you can have something that's called adrenal fatigue. And some symptoms of that would be extreme exhaustion for absolutely no reason. Maybe going throughout your day, you didn't do much, but you're still super tired. You slept 10 hours and you wake up and feel like you didn't sleep at all, feeling overwhelmed all the time, having bursts of energy throughout the day, and then all of a sudden feeling a super crash. So some other symptoms: low blood pressure, low blood sugar, inability to lose weight, inflammation. It's tied into autoimmune diseases where basically your immune system begins to malfunction, and adrenal fatigue is actually one of the triggers of autoimmune diseases. So if autoimmune disease is running your family and you're constantly stressed out, then we need to work on stress management in your life because it is actually something that leads to autoimmune diseases. Stress can also affect your digestion by decreasing the good amount of bacteria that you have in your gut. So I hope we get it now. Stress is such a super serious thing, right? And I'm sure there's many more other things that I couldn't put into this short video. So I want you guys to really understand this, guys. It doesn't matter how healthy you are, how much you work out. Stressed, you know, being in depression, being anxious all the time, constantly being worried can actually make you sick. And it doesn't matter how well you take care of yourself in every other area of your life. If you're not working on your stress management, then you're very well setting yourself up for some type of ailment or a part of your body not functioning the way it's supposed to because you're not dealing with your stress. Okay, so now you guys are probably wondering, well, how do I deal with this? I get it, guys, like, especially like I've seen it in my generation and in the generations that are alive right now. Stress is prevalent in our lives. In the type of society that we live in, it's really hard not to fall into this. It's hard not to fall into stress. So I have some tips for you guys. I mean, everyone's completely different. Everyone is gonna manage their stress, and what may work for you may not work for me, vice versa. But here are some tips that I have. So you can look into breathing exercises, which has shown to slow down that sympathetic nervous system reaction and turn off that on, that on switch to help your body relax. So taking deep breaths. I know that there's a lot of amazing, breath work out there that you guys can look into for that. Light movement exercises. A lot of people do yoga, just some light stretching, just trying to relax your body, relax your mind. Some people, do a little bit heavier exercises to relieve that stress. There's also meditation. A lot of people meditate, and I'll tell you how I meditate, okay? So what I do when I meditate is I meditate on scripture, because if I'm struggling and anxious or worried about something, it works for me where I find a scripture that I believe is inspired by God, and that kind of combats that other feeling that I'm feeling, that I remind myself, well, this is what God says, so I shouldn't worry about it too much, right? Also, affirmations, talking to yourself, and I know that's probably really awkward to begin with because, let's face it, a lot of us talk very negatively to ourselves throughout our day, and maybe without even noticing. So actually setting that time aside to talk positively to yourself, to speak to yourself, and talk good to yourself, and remind yourself who you are, that you are an amazing being that is alive here on earth with a purpose, and just combating those negative emotions. So if you are a super busy person, think about delegating tasks to other people. At the end of the day, you can't do everything that you're doing without your health, so don't compromise your health by being so stressed and overwhelmed with everything that's on your plate. And last but not least, getting professional help. Speaking up, talking about it, that can be so incredibly healing. And I know that it can be super hard and scary to talk about something that gives you all these horrible emotions, but guys, it could open a door to living a fulfilling life that's full of joy and hope just by opening up. It could be a therapist, it can be a life coach, it could be a counselor at church, whoever that may be, but just opening up and allowing yourself and giving yourself that chance to find that healing if you're going through some chronic stress. So if this video enlightened you and you learned something, please share it. Or if you even thought about somebody that that struggles in this area, that struggles with chronic stress, tag them. I want this to get out to the world, and it's really all for you guys. I want you guys to be healthy. I want to share this knowledge with you guys so that you guys can live the best fulfilled lives and bloom into the people that you guys are meant to be.